Okay, good morning. My name is Angela Moore. I am a healthcare science teacher. I teach in Muskogee County at Erin Cole Middle School.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you.
Now, this conversation came about literally right after I registered here at GAETC.
Yes.
So I just happened to see you and, briefly asked you what you do in that. We got into a conversation and you mentioned that you teach in the health science department, but you call it something different, right?
Right. So we call it healthcare science,
Got it.
science, and it's all the same.
Okay. All right. So where I come from in Texas, it's health science under the umbrella of CTE, Career and Technology Education, and here it's CTE.
AE. Yes.
AE. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Everything under that CTE, CTEA umbrella, I'm just going to come out and say it. A lot of times it is like one of the forgotten, those
Yeah.
the ones you don't really think about. They're off to the side. It's not a core content area. It's not a tested one where the students have to pass a certain exam to receive their diploma when they
Right.
walk off campus. Now, with that being said, the students in your class, they want to be there, right?
Right. Right.
Okay, so what content do you cover in your class?
So with me teaching healthcare science in middle school, it more so introduces them to the human body. We talk about vital signs. I teach CPR. They learn about the structure of healthcare, health insurance, HIPAA. So it's a lot of baseline information that they learn in middle school so that when they go to high school and they continue in healthcare, they can get into those application classes and those essential classes and build on it and hopefully do dual enrollment while they're in high school. Maybe get their certification in nursing assistant, maybe even certification in doing EKGs, and then from there, they're going to go to somebody's medical program in college.
All right.
So that's the goal.
And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I don't know when you went to school if you had those opportunities, but we did not have that growing up, at least where I grew up.
Okay.
So being able to walk out of high school with a certification, we're talking pipeline from high school to career.
Yes.
Right after.
Yes.
And it's amazing the opportunities that the CTE/CTEA or whatever your organization calls it, it's amazing the opportunities that our students get. As a matter of fact, you just reminded me, the last time I went, well, not the last time, this summer when I went for my yearly physical, I was talking to the lady who was taking my vitals, and she was going to draw blood as well for my blood sample, and she looked really young. And I started just a simple conversation with her. Come to find out, she just graduated one of the high schools that I used to support, but I no longer support. So I probably saw her at the middle school at some point because I also supported that middle school. But she's 18 years old.
Yes.
We're talking, she drew my blood, she took my vitals and all that.
Yes.
And she is now working in the field that she wants to right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, has saved money in the long run because
Oh my
she's already
gosh.
certified. And from here, she can go on if she wants to be a registered nurse, can be a nurse practitioner, all before she's 25 years old.
And probably
essentially.
making more money than
more
any
money
of
than
her
us.
CTE teachers, right?
Yes.
Without debt.
Without debt.
That is insane.
Yes.
Insane. So how long have you been teaching that?
I have been teaching that for 14 years. I did have a gap where I taught technical college. I taught respiratory therapy because originally by trade, I'm a respiratory therapist.
Oh, okay.
And I went back to school, became an educator to teach healthcare science. But I've been an educator for 14 years.
Okay. Have you come across students in the field? Really? Talk us
Yes.
through.
I love
Tell
it.
us.
I say moonlight, but I have a side job at a hospital in our city, and I am going into my job and I see a registered nurse, my former student, and that's happened
man.
on multiple occasions. I see
Really?
phlebotomists, radiologists, and now I'm working side by side. They're my colleague, but they're still saying, "Hey, Ms. Moore,"
Oh,
like
my
they're my
gosh.
student, and I love it. It warms my heart. Yes.
That's the Christmas bonus right there, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
It
that's tenfold right there. That is, not only did they get through the system, but they are working in something that they are passionate about, and they're working in something that actually means something. There's a lot of times, especially, my family, I remember having a conversation with my father, may he rest in peace, that he, is working, was working his butt off. And one time I just had a casual conversation with him, and I told him, well, yeah, but you're doing what you love. And he turned and looked at me and he said, I'm doing what I need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing what I need. This is,
Yeah.
I do this on occasion. He was a general construction, what was his official title? Like a construction worker, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, this is what I need to do because I got to put food on the table where I have to provide. I do this at home on occasion because I've learned the trade, and I can now do stuff for people and do stuff at home and tinker around. But he said, this isn't necessarily what I love.
Right.
But the kids that are coming, and I hate to use the word kids because they're adults. The students that are coming out of those programs, they're doing what they love.
Right, and the beauty of grabbing them as early as middle school, they can kind of either light that fire or they can say, hey, this is not what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
As opposed to waiting till they get to college and they've paid money for 2 years and they're like, wait, I don't like people. I don't like to touch people. I don't like body fluids.
I don't like blood.
And so they wasted time, they wasted years, but they can kind of already see early on that, hey, this is a pathway for me or it's not the pathway for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things that I've heard from a couple of educators and a couple of people who might just not know, especially parents, in the health science, healthcare science, whatever term is applicable to whoever's watching or listening, a lot of people just think, oh yeah, doctor. But there's multiple careers. Can you just give us a rundown of maybe top
goodness.
5, top 10 or whatever? What careers can potentially come out of your CTAE programs?
There's so many. So even if you want bedside care, of course, there's your nurse, there's your respiratory therapist, your physical therapist. There is, of course, becoming a doctor, different specialties within being a doctor. There is speech therapy. We have occupational therapy.
OT?
We have, let's see, even doing like more so the business. You have people who are doing HR, but it's hospital related. You have
Billing.
those who are doing more of the just building technology, the bioengineering, biotechnology of healthcare. You have people who are your data analysts. You have still your secretaries, still your coding and billing individuals. Oh, there's so many. I'm missing a lot of them. There's just a lot.
There's a lot.
There's
And
a
that's
lot.
that's only within the health field.
That's only within the health field, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of
Yeah.
the career list.
Yeah.
So.
Like, I'm not saying that I regret, but if I was to go back in time, obviously I wouldn't change anything because that's where I met my wife, and 2 beautiful boys as well. But, it's interesting because we now have like culinary. I would have loved to gone through a culinary program. I cook a lot at home for and with my family and friends, and it's one of my releases. It's something I like to do, but there's a lot of money that can be made with doing something that is your passion, like cooking or healthcare. Or, my youngest son is actually going to the plumbing program for 2 class periods. So they get bused from the high school we have an actual C-Tech building. It's about maybe 6 miles down the road, but they make it so that they bus the students from the high schools there. And there's plumbing, there's construction, HVAC, mechanic, nursing, and there's one other one I forgot. But it's all basically there. And it's, they start from 9th grade. They get their certifications, and it's a wrap.
Yep, and
it's a wrap.
That's similar to what we do in our county. They'll bus either to the technical college or to the university, or they'll have to have their own transportation. But either way, they can use school time, and they'll get high school credit as well as that college credit.
That
and like
dual
you
credit,
said, they graduate with a certification. They're work ready.
Yep.
And we've saved money for the parents. We've saved time for the students, and it's a win-win.
Not only that, but idle hands are the devil's playground. But now when you are embedded in something that is taking your time and that you like and you enjoy, then we're now keeping these students, I don't want to say 100% in the clear, but there's less of a chance of them getting into trouble and things like that later on down the road.
Right.
So we want to make sure we keep them occupied with things that will eventually build for them and with them so that they could walk away with a trade.
Right.
Or 2 or 3.
Or 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're here at the Georgia Educational Technology Conference. Now, as a health care science teacher, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Give me your top 3 ed tech tools that you use in your classroom and why.
Okay.
Or how you use them.
Okay. So we use Canvas. That's just a hosting ground for all of our online teaching tools. I love it because I can have my students do vital signs. I'll just use vital signs as an example. They're checking each other's pulse.
Okay.
And if I have a room of 30 students and I do what's called checkoffs, once they're ready, once they become proficient, instead of me having to go to each individual student, do the checkoff, they can use Canvas and they can use the program Cami that's embedded in Canvas.
Cami. Straight down the road over here. Okay, big shout out to Cami.
And one of the tools in there is a camera. So I can post the checkoff sheet there. The recording is within the Cami. They can check off on their peer. They can have the visual of them actually going through the skill, them keeping the time, checking the pulse. They can record all the information for the pulse check, and they can submit it right there. And so now I don't have to spend all of class time going person to person. They've recorded their checkoff, and then I can, on my downtime, my free time, go back in, grade, and give them their grade that way. And so it's a time-saving tool. It gives them more of the power, and so I love that.
Okay.
I love it.
All right. So Canvas, which is your learning management system where you house everything. It's that hub, if you want to call it. And then you use Cami to save your time to do that. Okay. Do you ever play around with Magic School?
So Magic School is new to me. So hearing you talk about it a little bit earlier, I was like, okay, I want to hear more about it. I want to hopefully jump into a session. I know there was one that I missed earlier, but hopefully I can find another one about Magic School.
You don't even have to go to a session. If you go down here and talk to Andrew Davies, I don't remember the booth number, but you talk to Andrew Davies. I had him on the show. He was the first episode here yesterday. He can give you the rundown, and as of right now, so do you use ChatGPT at all?
I've been dabbling in it.
Okay, so with ChatGPT, you have to tell it who you are and what you're looking for. So you have to tell it, take on the role of a health science teacher in the middle school and, give me X, Y, and Z based on this. With Magic School, the engineers have already prompted to know that you're a teacher. So they have 65 tools.
Okay.
That can do anything from, like my last episode that was published, I gave my top 3 tools in Magic School. And big shout out to Magic School because they are sponsoring these episodes here at GAETC. But my top 3 tools within Magic School are the standards unpacker. So you could put in the standard, you could copy and paste from whatever document or website you use for your TEKS, your standards and objectives, and you throw it in there. It unpacks it for you. It gives you sample learning targets and success criteria.
Okay.
And then what I like to do is I'll create like a project or something. Whenever I do some sort of project, I want a rubric. So I can easily know how to grade the kids. I want clarity for the students on how they're going to be graded. I can put in the project into their rubric generator, and it'll generate a rubric like that.
I need to go see them.
And then my third favorite tool is their email responder. You know that angry email that we get once in a while as educators from a parent or what have you? You take the body of that email, you throw it in there, and I always erase any personal identifiable information like the student name, maybe the parent name. If they address me, I'll erase my name, and I'll just put a placeholder. And you tell it the points you want to convey, like this, that, and that. And it will generate an email response that is, I like to use the word massage, that is massaged in a way that it's positive, and it makes it sound as that we are both on the same page, which is the best for their child. And then I'll go in there and make, I'll copy it, throw it into my email, and just kind of tweak it and make it my own. The 80-20 rule. AI can do about 80% of the work. after that, you got to put in the other 20 to fine tune it and make sure that it sounds like what you want to say. So
Okay.
give it a shot,
I
because
will.
you're going to go down a rabbit hole. I guarantee you're going to be like, okay, all right, this is going to change everything.
Okay,
So,
okay.
all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your input on the CTAE here in Georgia, and I want to, first off, let's do this right. I'm going to give you a round of applause right here. So I want to just give you a round of applause for everything that you do for our students in that career field, that technical education, and that pipeline. Usually we hear about the school to prison pipeline, but now we're talking about that school to career pipeline,
Right.
where we are putting our students in that role, in that highway, that one-way highway to a career, a promising career. So
Right.
thank you for everything you contribute to our educational space and everything that you do.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, how can people connect with you if they wanted to find you on social media?
Yes.
If you are,
I
indeed,
am
there.
on social media, so my name is Angela Moore on social media. Also just via email through our Muscogee County School District.
Okay.
Easy to find. Yes.
All right. And all that information is going to be in the show notes. That way you guys can check it out, connect with Angela. And I do have one other $1 million, quite possibly, the most important question you'll be asked the entire conference. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Ooh. Sorry, y'all. Flour.
You're a flour.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I respect a good flour tortilla.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Well, enjoy the rest of your conference. And thank you for volunteering here as
Yes,
well.
yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.